Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So the Wall Street Journal is one of those news outlets that you hear about and they're around, but they don't really make much of an impact these days. It doesn't really surprise me, especially considering that a bunch of their stuff is put behind a paywall. But every now and then they make their appearance. The Wall Street Journal has done something that is absolutely disgusting that a lot of other mainstream media sources doesn't really can't really compete with. Like, take your pick: CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, all these different sources. They all have something in their closet, something that they've put out, something that's really disgusting. But the Wall Street Journal has them beat for what they did over these last couple days. So what ended up happening is I came across this story yesterday. Anyway, so I was browsing around on Twitter, and then I noticed that one of the guys that I follow, Ethan Ralph, he runs the Killstream, and his YouTube channel is the Ralph Retort. Interesting show. I enjoy watching. I find it pretty entertaining. But a few months ago, it was actually late September, September 29th, if I'm remembering. They ended up having one show where they called it the Heel Stream. And what it was is they were going to be all the proceeds that they received from Streamlabs and Super Chats were going to go, and they were going to donate those to St. Jude's Research Center. And St. Jude's specializes in cancer treatment for young children and other life-threatening life-threatening ailments, but mainly it's cancer research. So this is what they were trying to do, something good. So they ended up raising about $27,000 for this St. Jude's. And the Wall Street Journal ended up deciding that they were going to write a article about Ethan Ralph. Now this is where they get disgusting and what they ended up doing. So it became obvious yesterday when people started posting on Twitter that the money they had donated to the Killstream on that day was suddenly being refunded to them. And there's plenty of images of that going around. People have posted screenshots of their amount being refunded to them by YouTube. So you start wondering what the hell is going on. It turns out that the Wall Street Journal had gotten in contact with St. Jude's and YouTube, and because they didn't like Ethan Ralph and the type of person that he was, they ended up convincing both to they ended up convincing St. Jude's to refuse the money and have Team YouTube refund the money back to the people. This was $27,000 that was going to cancer research for children that could actually help pay for some of their medication. It was absolutely disgusting thing to do. And they even ended up going a little bit farther on this. So the article that they ended up putting out was actually, hold on, let me show you. It's called "Hate Speech on Live Super Chats Tests YouTube. Feature that gives paid comments special treatment, generates revenue, but can also include racist comments." Written by Yori Ko. Now, I can't actually go through the whole article for you. This is archived, but unfortunately, the fact that the Wall Street Journal keeps their stuff behind a paywall, and no way I'm going to pay them for their content. I can only see the first paragraph or so of the article. But one of their main people they focus on is Ethan Ralph on this stream, and they end up, of course, calling him things such as far-right personality Ethan Ralph. So they pretty much, because of some of the comments that are made through Super Chats and some of the things that are said on his show, they don't like Ethan Ralph. They pretty much throw them in the same category as members of the alt-right, white supremacists, this sort of thing. Now, I actually think it's inaccurate to just make the direct comparison that if you're on the alt-right, you're immediately a white supremacist. It's sort of I would say all white supremacists are alt-righters, not all alt-righters are white supremacists. That's how I would sort of put it. It's just, if you actually sort of investigate it on your own, then you'll notice that a lot of these people wouldn't consider themselves supremacists, but instead would actually just consider themselves people who are concerned about some of the rights that white people face. That's really more than what it is. So it's inaccurate to call him this, but even Ethan Ralph himself, you can't put him in the category of a white supremacist or an alt-righter. He himself has said he's not a white nationalist, and even if he was, he'd be one of the worst white nationalists out there because he's married to a Pakistani woman. So kind of put the screws in that, but that doesn't matter to people in the media. All that matters is the narrative and selling their articles. So they ended up putting this out, and actually the picture that you cannot see because of the archive was a picture of Jean-François Gariepy, who used to be on Andy Worski's show, one of the main guys of the blood sports back at the beginning of 2018, late 2017. So they end up doing that, and then they make references, some of the things that are put out there. Now, there has been an email that was leaked between Ethan Ralph. Actually, Ethan himself ended up leaking it. He put out the email that was the exchange between him and Yuri Ko, and he didn't end up getting back to her because, as he stated, I actually stated it yesterday, that he has had bad experiences when talking to the mainstream media in the past, so he decided he wasn't going to do it again. So later on in this article, they make references to how he refused to comment on the situation. But anyway, so they ended up refunding the money from cancer research for children, which is disgusting enough, but then they went on an even larger campaign against Ethan Ralph. When I came across this, I started writing in, for some of you may know, I have a blog on Steemit where I just like to put, instead just articles that I write on topics that I come across. I kind of just, don't have a regular time I post them, just whenever something crosses my my desktop and I get interested. So this hashtag WSJ Kills Kids was trending on Twitter yesterday. A lot of people were using it for this very reason. And then when I was writing this up, that's when I came to realize just how much larger this campaign against Ethan Ralph was. Because one thing that I have down here, which is a video that is no longer available. When I pulled up this video and put it into my blog here, it was from the Killstream archive. And the Killstream archive, as it says, just archives everything. And this was supposed to be the heel stream. Well, they ended up, as I was continued writing my article, I went back to go check it for something, and I realized that suddenly the video was unavailable. And that was because while I was writing this blog post, the YouTube took down the Killstream archive. And I have a picture right there of when I tried to reach the account. And it says that this account has been terminated for violation of YouTube's terms of services. Not suspended, terminated. But this was not just the Killstream archive. This was his main channel, the Ralph Retort, before he got a strike and he couldn't live stream. That's where he posted on. That got taken down. And then his secondary channel that he moved to after he got the strike, Killstream Live, that too got taken down. But before this all went down, before all these accounts were taken down, he also got a message from YouTube saying that his super chats on both the Ralph Retort and Killstream Live had been suspended, so he couldn't even receive any donations anymore. So that ended up happening. Then his accounts get taken down. So this was an orchestrated campaign by the Wall Street Journal to take down Ethan Ralph simply because they don't like who he is and what he talks about. Even Ethan Ralph himself, when he got called, he read the article last night because he ended up going live. He switched over to DLive, which is sort of, I believe, DTube, but it's instead of going live on DTube, they have an affiliated website called DLive that you can stream from, if I'm understanding how the website works. So he ended up going there, and that's where he posted the Killstream last night. And in there, he read the article, and even he was sort of outraged when he saw that they called him far right. And he's stated before in the past, which you probably can't really see very much anymore because they've taken down his videos, that he has said, I'm not a white nationalist. I would be a terrible white nationalist. He's just a guy that he's put one of his focuses, along with just politics. It's all about YouTube drama, some politics, just putting on a good show. That's the point of the Killstream. But he also has focused sometimes on certain topics that would affect white people, such as what's going on in South Africa right now. But that doesn't make him a white supremacist, a member of the alt-right. But they went out of their way, the Wall Street Journal went out of their way to slander him in their articles and then took it a step farther by taking this money away from kids with cancer. And even though it's only $27,000, I mean, a lot of people who are kind of against Ethan Ralph have also said, like, well, how much could you really use this money to help save children? Apparently, from what I found out, it's about $7,000 for some of these, for some of the medication, for some of the processes that they go through. So it actually would have taken at least money away from about 4 children. But that didn't seem to matter to the Wall Street Journal. They actually put politics over charity, which is a disgusting thing to do. Absolutely revolting. And since then, St. Jude has also said that they are not going to be taking they're not going to be taking any donations from Ethan Ralph or the Killstream whatsoever. So they put pressure on YouTube and pressure on this research facility, this hospital essentially, to refund the money. Are you disgusted yet? Because I couldn't believe this story when I came across it. And this is the author of the article, Yori Ko, who ended up doing this. People were absolutely disgusted with her. It got to the point where she actually, I don't know if this was a preemptive strike or she started getting hate and did this, but she protected her tweets on Twitter, so now you can't go and see it. I can imagine why. I'm sure a lot of people were outraged by this. But as you can see here, I've taken some screenshots and you can see that this is where it's saying that orders have been canceled and that you're getting your money refunded. So here's one dude who ended up having $100 he donated refunded to him. We have here the email that was corresponding between Ethan Ralph and Yori Ko from the Wall Street Journal. And it looks like right now, it actually appeared last night like it wasn't going to get released, the article, but I believe that one I showed you earlier, this one, the hate speech on live super chats test YouTube, is the article that they're talking about. So it seems that it did get released. But for a while, people were thinking that it wasn't. And then we have Ethan Ralph here saying all my associated channels have been deleted from YouTube. And then his co-host, Dan, also said that they deleted his too. I don't even think he was mentioned by name inside of the article. I believe they only called him his co-host. But he ended up deleting his live streams as well. This ended up happening actually midstream the day before, back on, I believe it was the 1st of November, because I wasn't watching this episode of them, but they were saying that they were in the middle of a live stream when suddenly it got taken down. They move over to the Dans, and then with about 10 minutes after they started back up, that got taken down again. So it's just the fact that the Wall Street Journal was willing to do this is it's pretty disgusting. I mean, it's one thing to go after Ethan Ralph and his YouTube channels. It's another thing to go after the money that was donated to a cancer research facility for children. This is for kids. So now there's been a bunch of memes going around about how the Wall Street Journal just doesn't care about kids. You know, they'll gladly take the money away from them. People have shown this author, Yori Ko, as the Grim Reaper and things, standing outside St. Jude's. There's been some pretty good memes that have been going around because of it. And some people did background research, and they actually found out that Yori Ko's parents, or at least her father, I believe was a doctor, and he ended up actually he got sued and lost a court case because he was defrauding Medicare. He had to pay about $500,000 back into it because he ended up defrauding them. So apparently it's like parents, like daughter, because both of them were going to manipulate the medical system for their benefit. And in her case, she took it away from children. I really don't see anything that's more disgusting than doing something like that. That's all I really have for you today, but I just wanted to bring people's attention to this. And if you're upset about it, you should send messages to the Wall Street Journal and tell them how pissed off you are about this. But there's one thing that I do believe of this whole situation. This is not going to go down quietly. The Wall Street Journal is going to receive a lot of lashback for it, and they already have. There have been a few other articles that have ended up picking up on this. Ethan Ralph was on InfoWars last night before he went live on the Killstream on DLive. And he talked about the situation. I've seen an article that's come out from the Daily Caller, and I think there's been a couple others that have been written about this and the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal is supposed to be, or at least it historically has been, a magazine for business people, for those that play the stock market. But over the last few years, they've changed the way that they do their journalism, and now they're jumping into what pretty much the same sort of crap that every other mainstream media source is doing, these hitman journalistic pieces. This is why people don't trust the media. This is why people don't trust journalists, because they'll gladly manipulate what you say and what you do to make you seem like you're even worse of a person than you really are. It's all about selling articles these days. That's all they care about, and because that's all they care about, your your life doesn't matter to these people. Your reputation doesn't matter to these people. Imagine Ethan Ralph had a job that he worked on the side. This would probably ruin him and get him fired because of it. And there's been plenty of times that this has happened. So it's just a new low that even a company like CNN couldn't sink to. They've sunk pretty low. Don't forget, maybe last year, the person who put out a meme about Donald Trump body slamming CNN, like they took a clip from WWE with Trump in it and put CNN's logo over the face, they threatened to dox this guy, and that was pretty low. But not quite as low as stealing charity money from children.